My GoFundMe for chemo barely hit $60 in 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, my mom posted a video sobbing over Luna, my sister's husky begging people to help save our baby's leg. That video hit 200K views in 3 days. Donations poured in like rain in July. By the end of the week, Luna had $15,430. Meanwhile, I was Googling how to stretch expired prednisone. I'm not telling this story for pity. I'm telling it so people stop romanticizing family as something sacred because mine chose a dog over me. And not in some metaphorical, I feel, neglected way. I mean literally, financially, publicly, and unapologetically chose a Siberian Husky's ligament over my ability to breathe without collapsing. Let's rewind. My name's Julia. I'm 29, a freelance book editor. I was diagnosed with granulomatosis with polyangiitis last year, a rare autoimmune disease that left untreated basically eats away at your lungs and kidneys. It's treatable, but the meds are brutal, and insurance only covers a fraction because of the Tier 4 pricing. My monthly out-of-pocket was $1,935. I made about $2,200 on good months. I tried to hide how bad things got. I started skipping doses. Stopped telling people when I fainted. But when my rheumatologist warned I'd need surgery if things didn't improve, I panicked. So I did what sick people do in America. I made a GoFundMe. It took 3 hours to write. I cried halfway through, trying to sound hopeful, not desperate. I posted it quietly, just a link on Facebook with a caption, "This isn't easy for me, but I need help, anything at all." Crickets. I mean, some friends from high school donated like $10 here, $25 there. But from family, not a dime. Not even a share. Not even a thinking of you. My mom saw it. I know because she liked a picture I posted 2 hours later. My sister Olivia never even acknowledged it. At first I told myself maybe they just didn't see it. Facebook's algorithm or whatever. But a week later, I brought it up to my mom directly, softly, like a question. "Hey, I know this is awkward, but did you happen to see the fundraiser I posted?" She was standing at her sink, scrubbing coffee mugs like they had insulted her. "I did," she said. "But Julia, you're an adult. We've helped a lot over the years. At some point, you've got to figure it out on your own." Let me pause here and say I'm not someone who's mooched off my family. I moved out at 18, paid my own way through community college, and freelanced to support myself through every medical disaster life threw at me. But apparently, the one time I ask for help for something that might literally kill me, I get the bootstrap speech. That conversation ended with me nodding and smiling while my insides curled up and died a little. I didn't expect money, not really, but silence. That cut deeper than any copay. And then came Luna, Olivia's husky. 2 years old. She's cute, loud, probably has more Instagram followers than I do. 3 weeks after my fundraiser flopped, Luna chased a squirrel into traffic and tore her ACL. A doggy orthopedic emergency. Olivia was devastated. Cue the full family PR machine. My mom wrote a handwritten caption on Facebook. "Our sweet Luna needs surgery to walk again. This pup is our world. Please help us bring back her zoomies." There was a video montage, music, filtered photos, Olivia crying, my stepdad holding the leash like it was a fallen soldier's flag. They even printed custom t-shirts, had "Run Luna Run." It was the most passionate campaign I've ever seen. And it worked. Luna's GoFundMe hit 5K in the first day, 10K by day 3. People donated in memory of their own dogs, left messages like, "She reminds me of my pup Bella who passed." Praying for Luna's recovery, celebrities shared it. Olivia got featured on a local news story titled, "Saving Luna, a Community Comes Together." Meanwhile, I was in the ER with chest pain from pleuritis. I called my mom. She sent a heart emoji. I watched her comment on Luna's fundraiser. "Thank you for your kindness. Every dollar means the world." That night, I deleted my fundraiser, not out of bitterness, out of clarity. If your own family won't invest in your survival, but will build a movement for your sister's dog, that's not a family. That's a branding campaign with shared DNA. I wanted to scream, but instead I stayed quiet. I laid in bed, listening to my own breath rattle like broken machinery, and whispered to the ceiling, "I get it now. I really, really get it. But don't worry, this isn't a tragedy. Not yet. Because something inside me changed that week. A rage, yes, but also a resolve. If I was going to die, it wasn't going to be politely. If I was going to survive, it wasn't going to be quietly. And that's when the idea hit me. If my family didn't want the world to know how they really treat me, too bad. I was done covering for people who'd let me rot while crying over a dog. The next day I made a Reddit post. It started like this: aita for being mad that my family raised $15K for my sister's dog, but refused to donate $10 to my GoFundMe for chemo. The post went up at 9:42 p.m. By midnight, it had over 800 upvotes. By morning, it was on the front page of RAITA with flares like "Asshole Enthusiast Alert" and "WTF did I just read?" I never expected the internet to care. But apparently, my story-sick daughter denied chemo support while Golden Child's husky gets a viral fundraiser was exactly the kind of injustice Reddit lives to roast. And roast they did. Top comment: not the family choosing Luna the Labrador over Julia the human. Jesus Christ. Second highest: imagine dying while your mom prints home Save the Dog shirts. I'd haunt them through Alexa. Another user posted a side-by-side meme. Julia's GoFundMe $60 no shares. Luna's GoFundMe $15K sponsored by guilt and golden retriever privilege. People weren't just mad, they were furious. It tapped into something bigger. How women are expected to suffer quietly. How chronic illness is invisible until it's too late. How families use support as a weapon. By noon, I had over 300 DMs. Some were horrifying stories, like mine, people with lupus, Crohn's, rare cancers, all saying, "I get it. I lived it." Others were offers. One nurse offered me discounted access to a clinic. A TikTok creator wanted to share my story. Someone anonymously donated $5,000 with the note, "Fuck Luna, fight for your life." I sat in my room wrapped in a blanket, sobbing, not out of sadness this time, but disbelief. Strangers saw me. Not just saw, but believed, validated, fought for. Meanwhile, my family, they were about to blow a gasket. The meltdown started with Olivia's text. "WTF, did you post online? Take it down, now." I ignored it. Then came the group text from my mom, all caps. "You are humiliating this family over a dog. Apologize, or you are cut off." Cut off from what exactly? The emotional neglect buffet. The holiday guilt train. Then came the Facebook war. Olivia posted a teary selfie with Luna captioned, "So hurt and blindsided. Never thought my own sister would weaponize my dog's injury for clout. Luna is family. She deserves love too." Cue the sympathy brigade in the comments. "So sorry you're dealing with this. Dogs are family. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Stay strong. You're a good fur mama." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Reddit had my back. One user found Olivia's TikTok and stitched it with a dramatic reading of my original post voice, shaking with rage. Another made a timeline chart. May 3rd, Julia posts fundraiser, ignored. May 18th, Luna tears ACL, entire town mobilized. May 24th, Julia faints at work, no calls returned. May 28th, Reddit burns everything down. That chart got 1.2 million views. 3 days later, a local news outlet picked it up. They blurred names but kept the details. Headline: Viral post exposes medical neglect within family, fundraiser drama. My mom called me. I let it ring out. She left a voicemail. Her voice was calm, too calm. "Julia, this has gone too far. You're sick. You're not thinking clearly. We're trying to forgive you, but you need to apologize before we lose any more respect in this community." I replayed that message 5 times. "Forgive me for what not dying quietly." Later that week, I got a call from my Aunt Dad's sister. We'd never been close. She'd moved to Oregon years ago, but she said she saw the article, saw my name. "Julia, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I can't undo what they did, but I want to help. I'll cover your surgery." I nearly dropped the phone. "You don't have to, I want to," she cut in. "Your dad would have been ashamed of them." Turns out, she and my dad had fallen out with the rest of the family years ago over Olivia. A familiar pattern, huh? The money came through that same week. I booked my pre-op appointment, paid off 2 credit cards, bought myself a burrito. An actual burrito, not dollar menu sadness. And for the first time in months, I slept through the night. But the drama? Oh, the drama wasn't over. Because Reddit's not just a platform, it's a boomerang. And it was about to circle back. Someone from Olivia's yoga studio messaged me anonymously. "Hey, I know this is weird, but I teach your sister's Thursday class. She came in crying, said her career's over, the studio's being harassed. Apparently, a few Redditors had politely inquired why a business that sponsored a $15K dog fundraiser had done nothing for their employees' medically fragile sibling. Within hours, her yoga studio shut down its IG page. The studio posted a final story: "We don't condone online harassment. Peace and compassion matter most." Olivia lost her job. My mom lost 3 Facebook friends and had to delete Twitter. My stepdad took a social media detox. And me, I was accused of canceling them. But here's the thing: I never named them, never linked their pages, never said Olivia's full name. I just told my story, and people listened. If that's cancel culture, good. Let it cancel the silence. Let it cancel the gaslighting. Let it cancel the expectation that sick women should suffer in silence while their families pose with t-shirts and puppies. At my next doctor's appointment, the nurse asked how I was paying. I told her I wasn't sure who to thank first, Reddit or Luna. She laughed. And for the first time in a long, long time, I did too, surgery day. That morning, I stared at my reflection longer than usual. My face looked thinner. My eyes a little sunken, like I'd aged 6 months in 2. But there was something steadier behind my tired expression, something I hadn't seen in a long time. Resolve. I didn't have a ride to the hospital. My aunt offered to fly in, but I didn't want her spending money on airfare after everything she'd already done. So I took an Uber, told the driver I was getting a minor thing fixed. He said he hoped it wasn't my heart. I just smiled. Funny. I used to think it was. The hospital was clean and cold, sterile in the way all hospitals are, like hope has to be bleached before it enters. I changed into the gown, tied it in the back, lay down on the gurney. A nurse named Ellie checked my vitals and asked if anyone would be joining me. I shook my head. "No family, not the kind that shows up," I said. She didn't pry, but then they came. At exactly 9:57 a.m., 10 minutes before I was scheduled to be wheeled in, the door opened and in walked Olivia. Behind her was my mom, and behind her was my stepdad holding a bouquet of blue hydrangeas like they made up for a year of silence. I thought I was hallucinating. Julia, my mom, said like we'd spoken yesterday. "We wanted to be here," Olivia added quickly. Her eyes were red, and not just from crying more like she hadn't slept. "To support you, to make things right." I blinked at them, said nothing. My hands were already hooked up to an IV cold fluid dripping into my veins. My chest hurt. My stomach was knots. And now I had to process this sudden Broadway revival of, "We're a family after all. You ignored me for months," I said slowly. "You raised money for a dog. I almost died. You embarrassed us," my mom snapped before catching herself. "I mean, you didn't have to post all that online." There it was, the mask slipping. They weren't here out of love. They were here for optics. "Where's the camera?" I asked flatly. "Is this for a TikTok comeback tour?" Olivia's face flushed. "I get it." Okay, I messed up. I wasn't thinking. I didn't realize how serious it was. I was just trying to help Luna. And I was just trying to breathe, I cut in. "But sure, let's talk about the dog." The room went still. Even the beeping monitor paused like it was holding its breath. My mom sat down at the edge of the bed like she still had that right. "We're here now, isn't that what matters?" I turned to look her dead in the eye. "No. What matters is that you weren't there then, when I couldn't afford meds, when I passed out at work, when I thought about giving up." Her face went pale. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't crying. I was done. They left before the surgery. No dramatic goodbye. No teary hugs. Olivia tried to squeeze my hand before she walked out. I didn't let her. They had shown up at the finish line and expected applause for the bare minimum. But this wasn't about redemption. This was about recovery. Mine, not theirs. The surgery went well. 3 hours under. I woke up sore groggy, but breathing easier than I had in months. Ellie, the nurse, gave me a wink. "You did good, kid." A few hours later, my aunt arrived. She brought me proper socks, a charger, and a tub of my favorite soup from the place downtown. She didn't try to talk about what happened. She just sat next to me and watched old episodes of Chopped while I drifted in and out of pain meds. That's what real support looks like. 2 days later, I was discharged. I went home with new meds, a better prognosis, and zero intention of ever speaking to my mother again. But of course, they weren't done. A week post-op, I got a handwritten letter in the mail. It was from my mom. It started like this: "We've all made mistakes, but you have to understand how hard this was for us too." And ended like this: "You need to take some accountability for how you hurt this family." I almost laughed. Imagine nearly dying and someone still needing you to make them the victim. I posted the letter on Reddit, not for vengeance, for proof. Because too many people, especially sick women, are gaslit into thinking they're overreacting, into believing that neglect is their fault. Reddit got it again. The top comment said, "This is like getting hit by a car and then being told you were standing too close to the road." Absolute Olympic-level gaslighting. Another user DM'd me, "You don't owe them forgiveness just because they shared DNA." And I didn't, but I owed myself something. A clean break, a peaceful breath. A future not haunted by what-ifs, and maybe this time they'll change. So I blocked my mom, again. Olivia sent one last message. "You'll regret cutting us off when we're gone." I replied, "I already mourned you." And I'm still alive. Funny how that works. Sometimes survival isn't about beating an illness. Sometimes it's about walking away from what's killing you, even when it looks like love. 3 weeks post-surgery, I started sleeping again. Not the half-asleep, alert to every ache kind of sleep. I mean the full dreamless kind. The kind where you wake up without a weight on your chest, emotional or otherwise. I was healing. Not just physically, but from years of being the emotional janitor of my family, cleaning up their guilt, mopping up their silence, swallowing my own needs like they were selfish luxuries. I didn't just block them, I grieved them. And then, I moved on. I took a new freelance contract with a publisher in Seattle. One of the editors had seen my Reddit post and reached out privately, said she liked my voice, said I reminded her of her sister. I worked on a memoir about surviving trauma. How's that for poetic full circle? I joined a book club, bought a stupidly expensive scented candle, fostered a cat named Beans who hated everyone but me, and I started therapy. Because it turns out when your family teaches you love is transactional, support is conditional, and your pain is inconvenient, you've got some things to untangle. For a while, things were quiet. Then came the YouTube video. I got tagged in a comment one afternoon. "Is this your sister?" I clicked the link. Olivia, on a podcast, titled, "When Family Cancels You, My Side of the Story." Thumbnail her with wet eyes Luna in her lap tissue in hand. I laughed, out loud, alone, for a full 10 seconds. The video was 42 minutes long. I watched it with a bowl of popcorn like it was Real Housewives. She painted herself as the misunderstood sister, claimed she'd always loved me, that I'd twisted the narrative, that Luna was a therapy dog and basically family, that she didn't realize how sick I was because I didn't communicate clearly. Julia always kept things to herself. I wish she had just told us how serious it was. That line hit different when you remember I literally posted a public fundraiser titled, "I need help with my chemo." But the kicker? She didn't have to drag us online. That was cruel. I've gotten threats. People told me to choke on a dog leash. Okay, that's awful. No one deserves that. But actions have consequences, and so do inactions. Comments under the video were mixed. Some people bought it. Families fight? Move on. Cancel culture is out of control. She looks sincere. But the top comment, imagine being more upset about your online reputation than your sister's literal life. Priorities much. Reddit caught wind within hours. Someone cross-posted with a savage title, "Golden Child tries a PR spin after real sister nearly dies." Within 24 hours, Olivia took the video down. She texted me again. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I was just trying to explain myself. No apology, just image rehab." I didn't reply. Because here's the thing about healing, it makes you less available for bullshit. Once you realize peace isn't given, it's built. You stop inviting chaos to sit at your table. And mine was finally full. One Friday, my book club surprised me with a cake that said, "Still here, still standing." Beans tried to sit on it. We laughed until we cried. That night, I posted one last update on Reddit. I made it. Not just through the surgery, but through the grief of realizing that my family was never safe. I didn't get justice. I didn't get closure. I got something better. A life that's mine. The post blew up again. People called it cathartic, powerful, a masterclass in walking away. Someone commented, "You didn't just survive. You outgrew them." And maybe that's the real twist. It wasn't that my family betrayed me. That part sucked, yes. But it wasn't new. It was just louder this time. The twist was me finally choosing myself. Finally realizing that you don't have to keep bleeding just because they handed you the knife with a smile. Still, closure has a way of testing your resolve. A month later, I got an email from a lawyer. My grandmother had passed. There was a reading of the will. Olivia and my mom were contesting it. Apparently, Nana had left me something they didn't want me to have. A house. My childhood home. The same one where I hid in closets during fights. Where I cried in my pillow wishing someone would hear me. Where I learned to disappear quietly. And now it was mine. I stood outside it last week. The shutters needed paint. The fence was leaning. The hydrangeas out front, my mom's favorites, were dying in the heat. I opened the door. Same creaky hinge. Same smell of old books and lemon floor cleaner. But the energy was different. Because for once it was mine on my terms. I'm not sure what I'll do with it yet. Maybe I'll sell it. Maybe I'll turn it into a writer's retreat. Or maybe I'll do what Nana probably wanted all along. Give a safe home to someone who never had one. Because now I know. Family isn't blood. It's who shows up when you're drowning and doesn't ask if you texted first. It's who sees you drowning and jumps in, not who lectures you about your stroke form. And it sure as hell isn't the people who save a dog while you're dying. The official deed arrived in a stiff manila envelope. My name was typed in bold across the top, Julia Marie Sanders, sole beneficiary of the property at 314 High Tree Lane. It didn't come with a note. No letter from Nana. No heartwarming message scrawled in shaky cursive. But it didn't need one. The house itself was the message. I hadn't stepped foot inside it in nearly a decade, and yet every corner whispered things I'd forgotten. The scuffed floorboard outside the laundry room where I used to sit with my Discman and cry after fights. The closet door in my old bedroom that never quite shut where I once hid during a Thanksgiving brawl over my college plans. The patch of wallpaper behind the fridge I peeled back when I was 15, hoping to find secrets. All I found was mold and silence. But now, it was mine. Olivia and my mom fought it, of course. They claimed I manipulated Nana, that I smeared the family name for internet points, that I didn't deserve the house. Their lawyer tried to delay the transfer, citing emotional distress. But here's the thing about going viral, you get receipts. I submitted screenshots, emails, even that passive-aggressive letter my mom wrote after surgery. The judge didn't say much, just signed the transfer and said, "Sometimes the people who scream the loudest are the ones least willing to listen." Mic dropped. I didn't move in. Not right away. Instead, I spent the first week just sitting in it, sleeping on an air mattress in the living room, letting the silence fill my lungs like medicine. Sometimes it felt heavy, other times peaceful. I found old photos in the attic, me and Olivia as kids, matching holiday sweaters, grins too big for our faces. Before everything got so conditional, I didn't cry. I just looked, then boxed them up. Not out of spite, but preservation. Some things deserve to be remembered, just not repeated. One afternoon, while scrubbing mildew off the kitchen tiles, my phone buzzed. It was a voicemail from Olivia. I heard about the final ruling. "I guess it's over now. I hope you're happy." She paused. "Mom's not doing well. She says you broke the family. That Nana would have been disappointed." "I don't know. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. For not being there. For everything." She hung up without asking me to call back. Progress. Maybe. Closure. Not quite. Here's the thing, no one tells you some apologies are just bookmarks. They don't end the story. They just mark the page where the other person finally started catching up. But I wasn't waiting around anymore. I didn't return the call. I didn't send the photos. I didn't rage post about it online. I just breathed in the scent of lemon cleaner and old wood and decided what came next. The house needed work. The roof leaked. The water heater groaned like a ghost. The paint peeled like it was shedding old skin. But underneath, it had bones. Good ones. Like me, I guess. So I made a choice. I turned it into a creative sanctuary. Not a retreat, not an Airbnb, but a literal, lived-in long-term space for women in recovery, medical, emotional, financial. A place for people who've survived things they don't even know how to name yet. I called it the Still House because stillness is underrated, and survival deserves a soft place to land. The first resident was a 24-year-old named Maribel. She had lupus, was couch surfing, brilliant poet, walked into the house and said, "It smells like safety." I almost cried. Beans took to her immediately, which was high praise. "That cat barely tolerates me." The second resident was a painter recovering from divorce and cancer. Then a doula who'd lost her housing after a bad landlord. Then a grad student who'd been disowned for coming out. The house filled with stories. Not trauma dumps, not sob fests. Just realness, healing, music, laughter. People donated supplies, books, art, grocery gift cards. The same strangers who'd once DM'd me, "I believe you. I've been there." Some sent handwritten notes, "This is what family should be." And one afternoon, while repotting a dying fern on the porch, I realized something. They were right. I did break the family, but not in the way my mom accused me of. I broke the cycle. I broke the unspoken contract that said, "Keep quiet to keep peace." I broke the silence that protected neglect. I broke the pattern of pretending cruelty was love. And in doing so, I built something new. This isn't a revenge story. Not really. It's a reclamation of space, of voice, of worth. Because I used to believe being the quiet one, the resilient one, meant strength. But now I know sometimes strength is saying, "You don't get to hurt me. Not again. Not anymore." Sometimes I still get emails. From people asking if I forgave them. From new readers who found the Reddit thread. From strangers who say your story saved me. And from Olivia. Occasionally. Never with blame. Never with clarity. Just little pings of regret floating in a sea I no longer swim in. But I don't hate her. I just don't owe her anything. Because love without accountability isn't love. It's leverage. And I'm done being leveraged. So here's where the story ends. The house stands. The light filters through cracked blinds. Beans is asleep in a sunspot. Down the hall, someone is humming. Someone else is painting. Someone else is simply resting. And me, I'm sitting at a desk writing this, with breath in my lungs, peace in my chest, and a name on the deed that finally feels like it belongs. The irony of surviving something that nearly killed you is that people expect you to go back to normal. But there's no going back. Only forward with scar tissue where trust used to be, with a sharper sense of what peace really means, and with a throat that no longer swallows its own voice. It's been a year. The house is still standing. So am I. The still house now has 5 residents. We rotate chores, share grocery lists, watch trashy TV together on Thursdays. Once a month, we hold a potluck called Break and Bake. You bring a dish and one thing you've emotionally let go of. The living room wall is painted sage green. There's a bookshelf someone donated that's bursting with fiction, memoirs, poetry. Next to it, a handmade sign from Maribel. Healing isn't linear, but community helps. God does it ever. One night this past spring, I got a letter. No return address, just my name scrawled in tight cursive. Inside was a photo of me and Olivia, age 7 and 9. We were in matching swimsuits sitting on the back porch steps with popsicles. The photo had yellowed at the corners. Taped to the back was a sticky note. "I'm sorry I didn't protect you better." It wasn't signed. I knew it was from my mom. I didn't cry. I didn't call her. I didn't scan it for sincerity or read it 5 different ways. I just acknowledged it. A small gesture, too late but real. I placed the photo in the bottom drawer of my desk. Not to display, not to destroy, just to keep. Because you can make peace without reopening the wound. I still get messages from strangers. Some tell me their own stories about favoritism, invisible illnesses being used until broken. Some just write one line, "I didn't know anyone else felt this." And every time I respond the same way. You're not alone. You're not crazy. And no, you're not too much. They were too little. Once I thought survival meant toughing it out. Keeping quiet. Enduring. Now I know it means walking away. And choosing yourself loud enough that the echoes shake loose every lie they ever fed you. You don't have to stay where you were hurt to prove you're worthy of love. You don't have to carry shame that wasn't yours to begin with. You don't have to make yourself smaller to be accepted. That's not strength. That's slow erasure. A few weeks ago, a new resident arrived at the still house. Her name's Elise, late 30s, former teacher, diagnosed with MS and abandoned by her fiancé when she got too needy. Her first night here, she barely spoke. Second night, she helped chop vegetables for dinner. By week 2, she organized a movie night. She hasn't said much about her past. She doesn't need to. We see each other, and that's enough. Sometimes I sit on the porch in the early morning tea in hand, watching the street come alive, kids biking, birds yelling at squirrels, someone walking their golden retriever. I used to think that kind of peace was for other people. The ones with normal families, two-parent homes, dinner table laughter. Now I know better. Now I know peace isn't inherited. It's built, brick by brutal brick, out of truth boundaries and radical self-respect. People still ask if I forgave them. It's complicated. Forgiveness is not a door you open for someone else to walk through. It's a decision to stop pacing behind it. And I'm done pacing. I don't forgive to free them. I forgive so I can stay here on this porch in this moment, unburdened by what they refuse to carry. As for Olivia, we haven't spoken in months. But I hear from mutual friends that she moved cities, got a new job, adopted another dog, and has slowly stopped playing the victim online. One sent me a screenshot from her Instagram, a photo of Luna sleeping captioned, "Some bonds take longer to rebuild, still working on mine." No tags, no subtweets, just maybe growth, maybe not. Either way, I wish her peace, but from a distance. Because I'm not angry anymore. I'm not seeking revenge. I'm not waiting for apologies. I'm just living, loudly, freely, with people who don't make me earn my worth or shrink to fit their comfort. If you're watching this because your family chose someone else, an addict sibling, an image to uphold a version of you that never existed, I want you to know something. You are not the problem. You're the truth they weren't ready for. You're the mirror they refused to look into. But most of all, you are worthy of love that doesn't ask you to bleed first. I survived illness. But more importantly, I survived erasure. And I didn't just rebuild my life. I built a lighthouse. For anyone who's been lost at sea. For anyone who's ever whispered, "Does anyone see me?" We do. I do. And we're here, lights on, doors open. Waiting. Story 2. The Ridgefield Community Center had not altered in 15 years and had a subtle scent of nostalgia and varnish. The basketball banners are yellowed, the floors are scratched, yet the social hierarchy remains the same. But instead of Letterman coats, it now donned fashionable gowns and fitted suits. I feel remarkably stable as I enter my 15-year reunion, straightening the collar of my blue dress shirt. Rocket. Greetings, 2010 class. Above the sign-in table, where Melissa Brooks, the former class valedictorian, was seated, a banner hung. LinkedIn claims that the proprietor of a successful interior design company was now crossing individuals off a list. She screamed, "Oh my God!" Her tone was tinged with incredulity. Ethan, you're really here, Ross." I smiled, remembering all the times she had pleaded with me to fix her broken graphing calculator. I wouldn't miss it. "What have you been doing lately?" Her eyes were already wandering over my shoulder when she inquired. "For a more interesting person to back." I replied plainly and naturally. Her excitement vanished at once. "That's wonderful, I see. I was given a name tag by her. Over besides the bar is Logan. Do you recall Logan Pierce Savannah recently purchased her second dentist office, and he currently manages a hedge fund? Cool." I pocketed my hands in response. All around me, as I edged into the crowd, pounding music vibrated the walls. Adults attempted to surpass each other in their achievements. Ross, every talk is a performance. Holy shit. Logan Pierce, a former star forward and current Wall Street hotshot, gave the yell as he strode up in a spotless gray suit that was probably more expensive than my vehicle. However, he was behind him mending people's Wi-Fi. My AP chemistry partner, Savannah Carter, who is now reportedly a successful dentist, smiled politely but tightly. I lifted my plastic cup and murmured something along those lines. Do you recall how you envisioned creating the next Google Logan drew others in with a guffaw? Which nerd app was it? You're always talking about data guards or anything like that. I gently rectified data lock. No one was interested in encryption-related topics. Logan theatrically stretched his arms. Ross believed he would revolutionize cybersecurity. He is most likely now advising folks to restart their modems. I could hear the gang laughing. I took a look at my phone. 8:57 p.m. Another 2 minutes. Savannah bent over, voice leaking. False goodwill. It's my office. The team is always understaffed. Do you want me to recommend you? I'm okay, but thanks. Man, hurry up. Logan pushed. Ethan, what do you actually do? Logan leant closer and pressed. His outfit was reeking of the pricey perfume of cologne. You're still living in the little flat above your aunt's bakery. I'm still playing around with that security program. No one gave a damn. I sipped my drink carefully once again. In fact, 3 years ago, I sold that supposedly worthless software. Yes, but for what? About $200. Logan yelled, and the group of people gathered around us burst out laughing again. My PR director's message buzzed and flickered on my computer. In the 60s, a Forbes piece goes live. What did you never understand? That elegance. I spoke in a voice that was just loud enough for anyone nearby to hear. Don't worry, however. I allowed a cunning smile to appear. Soon enough, you'll know. What on earth is meant by that? Logan made a demand. The DJ speakers began to crackle with interference at that very moment. All of the smartphones in the gym appeared to vibrate simultaneously. I had set up a synchronized alert, and it was playing out exactly as planned. There were notifications everywhere in the room. Readers started reading out loud, and curious murmurs rose. The mystery billionaire from Silicon Valley is revealed by Forbes. Staring at his own screen, the DJ completely turned off the music. As dozens of phones showed my corporate headshot next to a figure that made Logan's hedge fund bonuses seem like lunch money, silence fell over the gymnasium. Ethan Ross, the founder of DataLock, was named the youngest billionaire in technology. Melissa read aloud. With a net worth of $8,200,000, her voice was shaking. I saw how everyone around me changed, their eyes widening and their jaws dropping as they realized that the geek app they had ridiculed was now the foundation of encryption for business all over the world. They believed the man to be just another IT dreg, but in reality, he was in charge of a global cybersecurity conglomerate. There must be a mistake. Logan stumbled, trembling his fingers as he reloaded his phone. No error. I'm a little surprised you didn't hear it, but I said it smoothly. Given your extensive knowledge of Wall Street data, locks have been a major topic of discussion in Silicon Valley for many years. Savannah gave a sharp blink. The Ross protocol, huh? You are that. I verified that every dental office in the nation, including yours, uses that software. Examine your patient portal, that encryption program you use on a daily basis. I constructed it in the computer lab at high school that you all made fun of. The room was silent. Everyone was watching me. Or the headlines from Forbes that appear on every phone screen. However you claim to be involved. Assistants, Melissa blurted. Yes, I am. I shrugged, keeping my own company. Every CEO ought to understand the inner workings of their product from the ground up. Do you not think Logan had a chalk-colored face? Listen, man, about what I said before I lifted a hand. Save it. I'm not here for apologies. I'm here to make an announcement. I nodded toward the DJ who handed me the mic. The same people who'd been laughing at my job now stood frozen, hanging on every word. The Ethan Ross Foundation launches tomorrow. I said, my voice ringing through the hushed gym. A $500 through $1,000 initiative dedicated to funding technology education in underprivileged schools. I paused, letting my gaze sweep across the stunned faces. Because somewhere out there's another kid sitting in a computer lab being told their dreams are worthless. I'm going to make sure they have the resources I never did. I handed back the mic, relishing the stunned silence that followed. Now, if you'll excuse me, I added, sliding my phone into my pocket. I've got a board meeting in Singapore in 12 hours. My jet's waiting. As I turned to leave, I caught Logan's reflection in the glossy gym windows. The former basketball star who'd once shoved me into lockers now looked impossibly small in his $1,000 suit. Outside, the sleek black Tesla, idling by the curb, sparked whispers from my former classmates James, my driver, and the first person I ever hired. Now head of operations stepped forward, opening the door with a knowing grin. "How'd it go, Mr. Ross?" he asked. "Exactly as planned." I loosened my tie as I slid into the car, mind already drifting to the journey that led me here. Flashback. 3 years earlier, the glass towers of our Silicon Valley headquarters were worlds away from the dusty computer lab at Richfield High. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the bay below sunlight, glinting off distant tech campuses. Engineers clustered around whiteboards designing systems capable of protecting trillion-dollar transactions. James entered my office, dropping a pile of folders on my desk. "The acquisition offers are getting serious," he said. "Google's offering 2,000 meters gone to $2.50. Microsoft's bumped theirs to 3,000. I shook my head. "Neither are we selling, and for generations to come, that money will change your life." I opened a new encryption model on both of my screens. The money is not the point of this. It's not just another app data lock. It will alter how the world safeguards digital life. James let out a sigh. A public face is what the board desires. Investors want to know who is responsible for the Ross Protocol. Logan's finance newsletter crossed my mind. Every time someone undervalued me, I dismissed DataLock as a niche product about Savannah's clinic using our technology without realizing it. Finally, I said we'll go public. Not yet, though. We start by creating something so large that they can't ignore it. The following 3 years were a blur of unrelenting labor, international transactions, and technological innovations. Data Lake expanded into digital infrastructure, AI, and quantum encryption, in addition to cybersecurity. Layers of holding companies were used to conceal my name. I was dubbed tech's invisible billionaire by the media. I was referred to as the IT guy. No one would recall. However, my name silenced the entire room and lit up Forbes Tonight. Don't forget to subscribe for more quiet retaliation and real-life boosts if stories like these motivate you. Online rumors were rife, but no one could have predicted it. The silent IT, a man who occasionally shared advice on computer repair on LinkedIn, was concealing billions of dollars. I kept my small apartment above my aunt's bakery as a ruse, even though I had purchased her a lovely new home. While a growing collection of supercars was discreetly kept in a private garage, I drove a sensible hybrid around Ridgefield. I had learned to live 2 lives. The unnoticed CEO of the encryption system protecting international communications and finance is Ethan Ross, a humble tech support worker. Sir Jane's voice jolted me out of my reverie. "It's your sister's calling." I tapped the console of the car. "Hello, Mia. Have you checked Twitter, Ethan?" "The trend is your reunion. Regarding your big reveal, everyone is talking. The only person who had always known the truth was Mia. She understood why I wanted to build data and lock on my own terms, so she helped me keep my cover." "How is the launch of the foundation going?" I inquired. The timing was ideal, thanks to the article in Forbes. We have already received requests for partnerships from half of Silicon Valley's tech giants. Additionally, Logan's hedge fund recently submitted a proposal. I smiled and graciously declined that one. James drove the Tesla through a private airfield's security gates. With the lights off and the steps down, my Gulfstream jet shone beneath the runway. Awaiting! I had learned patience in that ancient, lucrative field, but most CEOs would have gone public as soon as the money came in. "Hello? Computer Lab!" My phone was buzzing like a beehive. Melissa Brooks requested coffee to catch up. Logan Pierce had sent out a request on LinkedIn. The dental group in Savannah was offering to collaborate on community projects. Interviews were being begged for by local news outlets. James gave me a look. How am I supposed to handle all of these messages? Join the corporate development board for the business ones. Personal ones, I said. Allow them to wait in the aircraft. Data locks were visible on sleek monitors. Server farms in Singapore are blazing with a global footprint. Tel Aviv cryptography labs. Teams of cybersecurity experts based in London. During a video call, Mia appeared. Announcements from the foundation are exploding. Grants are already being applied for by schools. I said, good start with Ridgefield High. Complete cybersecurity curriculum coding boot camps and new computers. I stopped and imagined a child sitting where I had been having a bigger dream than anyone had ever imagined. You could call it potential investing. Board meetings and planning sessions took up the next few hours. Not only were we revolutionizing technology, but we were also redefining what young people like me could achieve. My screen flashed a news alert. A significant security breach occurred at Logan Pierce's hedge fund. I gave myself permission to smile a little. For months, Logan's company disregarded our repeated cautions regarding their antiquated security measures. Shall we assist them? From his seat on the other side of the aisle, James inquired, I said, then they are standard contract. Standard prices. No preferential treatment. My screen displayed another notification. A note from my former computer science instructor, Mr. Porter. Data lock will change the world I've always known. Ethan, I'm so proud of you. All those years ago, he had been the only person who had trusted my dumb little app. His name was already attached to the Foundation's first scholarship. Above the Pacific, our jet sliced through the air, encouraging the next generation of tech innovators, because every big idea deserves the chance to change the world, is the Foundation's mission statement, which I quickly read again. It had been more than just to reveal the reunion. It was a statement about opportunity, about seeing past people's situations, and about the superiority of quiet resolve over loud dismissal. Once more, my phone buzzed. Logan called for the third time. I decided to let him wait. It takes time to fully absorb some lessons. During our Asia-Pacific expansion meeting, I concluded with the glittering Singapore skyline visible through the tall boardroom windows. 48 hours following the reunion, stock of data locks had increased by 15%. Globally, the hashtag Ross protocol was still in vogue. My assistant, Mr. Ross, said quietly, taking over, Logan Pierce is visiting our Palo Alto office for the third time today, and the principal of Ridgefield High is on line 1. I looked at the time, 3 a.m. in California. Logan's perseverance was nearly commendable. Put Principal Gonzalez through it. I took up residence in my own office. I'm having flashbacks to Ridgefield High. Principal Gonzalez's voice was brimming with appreciation, Mr. Ross. Thank you so much for the grant from the Foundation, but I must know why. Let's begin with us. The framed printout on my wall caught my attention. Because everyone should have the opportunity to disprove their skeptics, the original data lock code was written late at night on a borrowed laptop in Rich Fields' dusty computer lab. Next week, I said the lab upgrade will begin. I hung up and opened my laptop to see a live feed from our lobby in Palo Alto. There was Logan slouched in a high-end suit that now appeared noticeably rumpled, holding onto a presentation folder as though it were a lifeline. Shall we make him wait? James raised an eyebrow in question. No. The video conference room should be escorted to him. A few minutes after I told James, Logan's face appeared on my screen. The arrogant smile he had flashed during the reunion had vanished, and in its place was the expression of a man clinging to his last hope. Ethan. He stumbled. Thanks for answering my call at last, Mr. Ross. 3 a.m. Logan over there, don't you go to sleep. Hear me talk about high school and the reunion. I was naive and young. I had no better knowledge. You're here because I compromised the security of your hedge funds. Customers are threatening to leave because you disregarded our advice. A defeated breath escaped his lips. Your enterprise rates are beyond our means. However you might think about investing or forming a partnership. Do you mean a bailout, Ethan? Our company has amazing potential. Datalock had the potential to do the same. I retrieved a collection of his previous emails. We'll see. You claimed that our valuation was irrational and referred to our first pitch as amateur hour. Logan's cheeks turned red. Ethan was unknown to me. That's the issue. You didn't see past appearances. His file was closed by me. You have our standard contract in your email. No discounts, regular rates. You have a choice. I leant back and focused on actual business after the call was over. The Foundation launched a nationwide coding bootcamp for underprivileged students as its first significant project. I sent a message that vibrated on my phone. This is something you must see. I received a link to Savannah's most recent LinkedIn post from Mia, a corporate think piece about misjudging potential that was actually a covert apology. According to Mia, it's going viral in the legal community. Now every law firm that dismissed data log patents is rushing. Students from Ridgefield High School who were gathered outside the former computer lab and excited about its impending renovation switched to a live news feed. A girl in a faded hoodie stood out of the crowd carrying a battered laptop that had been patched with duct tape. Learn about her experience. I sent Mia a message. Ensure that she receives what she requires. Datalock was getting ready to introduce quantum encryption technology that would surpass our previous innovations. But the day was hazy with calls and strategy meetings. Ethan received an email from Melissa Brooks at midnight Singapore time. I wrote this over the course of 2 days. My alleged empire in interior design. It's mountains of debt and 3 condos. The success that people perceive is a facade. I'm not worthy of favors. However, is it possible for us to meet not related to business? It all comes down to how you maintain your vision. While we all acted like different people. I was shocked by Melissa's candor. I sent Mia a copy of the email. I gave her an advisory position with the foundation. Those who have endured hardships can make the best mentors. Significant changes occurred the following week. Our contract was signed by Logan's hedge fund. Modest but secure. Record crowds attended the opening of Ridgefield High's new tech lab. The foundation declared alliances with 500 educational institutions across the country. But it was a virtual mentoring call with students that stuck in my memory. The Ridgefield girl Mariah identified herself. She demonstrated an AI algorithm she had developed on her old laptop and remarked, "People say this is impossible." Mr. Ross, however, was impossible. Simply indicates that they aren't looking closely enough. I recalled being that child who coded by myself while others made fun of my impractical aspirations. I told them that success isn't about proving everyone else wrong. It's about establishing your correctness. I was standing in my old apartment that night above the bakery where my old notebooks and rejection letters were kept. It would now serve as the Ross Innovation Lab for upcoming dreamers, but I had preserved it all as a reminder. Proving them wrong isn't always the best form of retaliation. It's ensuring that the following generation does it correctly. If you find resonance in my story, tell me in a comment how you have pursued your own unattainable goals. The mission is fueled by your support. Never allow anyone else to set your boundaries. Remember, build in silence, have faith, and prove yourself correct. We alter the world in this way, one concept at a time. Story 3, Clara, sign it immediately. You don't deserve this as much as your brother does. Despite the happy balloons floating behind us and the gentle jazz music, my mother's voice was cold as she pushed the contract across the cafe table. While my elder brother Lucas sat there coolly stroking the edge of his new sleek phone, my father leant close by her arms crossed, staring at me. I looked down at my recently obtained immaculate Stanford diploma. Its classy red folder is still inside. My heart pounded as I saw the pile of court paperwork requesting that I turn over the patents I had worked on for 5 years. However, I pushed the papers back towards my mother with a steady hand. Her lips pressed into a narrow line as her cheeks contracted. "Clara, this isn't voluntary. Lucas's cryptocurrency business failed. He requires fresh chances." My dad interrupted, bending forward. "Your small robotics project is the ideal launching pad for him. Small robots are functional." They had always referred to my study as such. Even after my National Robotics Prize victory, I was still simply the silent daughter who should make room for her golden kid, even when many defense companies approached me to license my adaptable drone technology. My brother. Lucas tipped back his chair and laughed. "Clara, hurry up! I have the business sense to turn your technology into a viable venture, you know." "You mean business savvy? The same savvy that in a single year depleted $500,000 from my parents' retirement money, pursuing a blockchain idea that never materialized." I remarked to the voice-growing company, "These patents are mine. The drone prototypes were constructed by me. I programmed through the night while doing 2 internships. Nothing will be signed by me." My father grabbed my diploma packet off of my lap and slapped his fist on the table so forcefully that the cutlery shook. "What a sour brat you are!" He ripped the heavy sheet in 2 with a growl. Customers in the vicinity gasped when the rupture broke up the music. "Do you believe you're more intelligent than us?" Despite the surge of fire beneath my skin, I remained still and composed after everything we had given up for you. I had learned more than engineering throughout my 5 years at Stanford. I learned how to stand my ground from them. "Everything you've given up," I whispered. Similar to the debts I took out, the 3 jobs I worked, and the limitless credit cards Lucas obtained. "Because nothing begins." My mother's voice trembled as she snapped. "Your sibling is able to see. Ambition. You spend your entire day immersed in machinery. You wouldn't use these pens." I straightened my deep crimson Stanford graduation gown and stood up. We're probably done here." With burning eyes, my mother hissed, "If you walk away now, this family no longer includes you." With my mother holding the ripped pieces of my diploma, I gazed at them. Lucas's haughty grin and my father's stiff stance caused an unexpected sense of tranquility to descend upon me. "In any case, you never truly considered me a member of this family." I looked into Lucas's eyes. My voice, steady. "I served only as your safety net." Lucas's lofty ambitions would always collapse and burn. "You dare!" Lucas pushed his chair back with a crack. However, I was already heading for the door. What did they not know? What the fact that I had previously met behind closed doors with Tesla's acquisition team the day before my adaptive drone navigation system was something none of them ever bothered to inquire about. For months, Tesla had been considering the one that my parents had written off as my little robotics pastime. The last negotiation was scheduled for tomorrow. I took out my phone and pressed speed dial as I went out into the chilly Palo Alto evening. Yes, everything went just as planned. They made an attempt to steal the patents. I stopped to avoid a gathering of students who were still in their graduation attire. No, I kept my mouth shut about the meeting tomorrow. Indeed, every document is available in a boutique storefront window. The Stanford crest was proudly emblazoned on my breast, and I could still see my reflection in my gown. However, I was taller than I had been in years. Tesla is scheduled to announce their purchase of my drone system for $50,000 tomorrow. My family would at last see the value in the small tasks they had discarded with such ease. However, I had other intentions for evening. My real family was waiting for me at my shared condo. My roommate Devin, my closest friend Priya, and our engineering team were hosting a low-key celebration for me. They were the ones who had remained up with me on many evenings when I was high on coffee, developing one prototype after another, and debugging complicated code. My phone rang with texts halfway up the stairs of the home. "And you're doing a really bad thing, Mom. Consider what is ahead for your sibling. You'll regret this in the interim. Your stupid machines would have been profitable if I had." Without responding, I put my phone on silent. They would soon discover the true profitability of my stupid robots. Before I could open my eyes in relief, Priya threw open the door. "Didn't they do just what you said they would?" At last, I smiled down at the shredding diploma as I nodded. "A press release has been drafted, and everything is ready for tomorrow." Priya winked and added, "Devin has the champagne chilled and Tesla's PR team standing by, ready to shake up Silicon Valley. For the first time since that terrible graduation meal, Miss Future Millionaire makes an appearance." I chuckled. Everything would be different tomorrow. However, I was in my proper place tonight, surrounded by individuals who had faith in me before anybody else did. As the sun shone on the brushed steel surfaces of Tesla's glass-walled conference room, I sat there the next morning. Opposite me, tucked deep in my tote bag, was my ripped Stanford diploma, a silent mark of survival. The director of acquisitions at Tesla is Raj Mehta. I skimmed the final pages of the transaction papers. His manner was sharp and professional, although it was obvious that he was thrilled. He handed the documents over the table and remarked, "Miss Bennett, everything looks in order. $50,000 for your patents on drone navigation, plus a 3-year contract that keeps you as the principal engineer. Are you prepared to sign?" I wrapped my fingers around the pen, reflecting on how different this moment was from the unpleasant confrontation from yesterday. I said just one question. "After this, the press release goes public." "Correct." Raj gave a nod. "The announcement has been prepared by Tesla's media staff. For our future generation cars, your drone system is exactly what we need. Within 1 hour, this will make headlines." Slowly, I signed it my name, each letter, a quiet reprimand for each time Lucas or my parents rejected my work. Raj smiled congrats as he collected the documents. My phone started vibrating in my bag almost immediately. In Silicon Valley, news quickly spread, and it was obvious that someone had leaked the deal. Lucas's call was the first to come over my screen. As soon as I pushed decline, messages began to come in. "What the devil, Lucas? $50,000. Lucas, you must tell me about this. Lucas, Clara, get it today. My parents came next. Mom, We need to discuss this as a family. Clara, Dad, you should share this with your brother. Don't be self-centered. Mom, consider Lucas and his future. Raj escorted me down to Tesla's media room where cameras flashed under bright lights, and I put the phone on silent. Now my small robotics hobby made headlines. I took the platform and gave my prepared speech outlining how my adaptive drone technology might revolutionize electric car economy and safety. By the middle of the day, my picture was all over tech news websites. For $50, a Stanford graduate sells drone technology to Tesla. Priya waiting, holding up her phone, while M, a young female engineer, shook up the car industry outside Tesla's headquarters. She chuckled, "You're trending on Twitter." Who has been phoning me all morning, you ask? I'll guess. My relatives. Lucas made 8 calls, tried to convince me that he is your business partner and that he urgently wants the specifics of your contract. I gave an eye roll. Numbers. As well as my parents. In his voicemail, your father insisted that you couldn't have done this alone. He claims he wants the deal reviewed by his lawyers. Devin had decorated my townhouse with balloons and a cake that read "Future Millionaire" before we returned. As we entered, I didn't recognize the number that buzzed on my phone again. "Grandma?" I replied, constricted in my throat. The soft voice of Clara's sweetheart came. "I recently watched the news. Even when others failed to see it, I always knew you were destined for great things." My eyes pricked with tears. When I graduated, my family attempted to steal my inventions. Tesla is now paying me $50,000 to disprove their claims. If you enjoy tales of modest underdogs becoming successful, click subscribe to follow along as I demonstrate what happens when the underdogs triumph. The only person who had ever supported my passion for engineering was my grandmother. When I was 12, she discreetly assisted me in purchasing my first robotics kit, even giving me extra money so I could buy better Radio Shack parts. I muttered, trying to steady my voice. "Thanks, Grandma." "You don't realize how much that means," she said. "Your grandfather would be so proud right now." "You always had his inventor spirit," he said. He hesitated, her voice changing. "By the way, your parents are here and making a big deal out of it." Then I sighed slowly. "They are, of course. Clara, don't waste any more time worrying about them." "Grandma," she said firmly, "I've corrected them. For years I've witnessed you putting your all into this work. After Lucas's farce, they threw good money. They've just hung up and realized what they lost." Among the dozens of congratulations from instructors, fellow students, and even a few venture capitalists, I eventually opened my messages. There was one email from a familiar sender, my father's lawyer. Subject: urgent family meeting regarding asset distribution. Devin read over my shoulder, scowling. "They seriously think they can still boss you around." They were so busy trying to crown Lucas as the family success story. Priya chimed in that they didn't notice the real star was right in front of them. Devin raised his glass to blind spots and to Clara's $50,000 check. As we laughed and clinked glasses, another email pinged onto my screen. This time, the subject line made me freeze and smile at once. From Stanford to Tesla, the secret journey of Silicon Valley's newest millionaire prominent tech magazine wanted me for a cover story. I felt a rush of warmth as I thought about the girls who might read that article. Kids who quietly tinker code or build while their families brush them aside. Maybe my story could help them believe that being the quiet one doesn't mean being invisible. Priya nudged me. "Ready to tell the world how you pulled this off?" I nodded, opening my laptop to draft a reply to the magazine editor. It was time to step into the spotlight on my own terms. No more living under Lucas's shadow. The party rumbled on around me as I typed, my friends' laughter drowning out the phone still buzzing with missed calls from my family. Tomorrow, I'd face their accusations and demands, but tonight was mine. We agreed to do the magazine interview at Grandma's house. A deliberate statement. As the photographer adjusted lights in Grandma's sunny study surrounded by framed photos of my middle school robotics trophies and science fair ribbons, I heard tires crunching on the driveway gravel. "They're here," Grandma announced, peeking through the curtains. "Right on schedule." Moments later, my parents and Lucas stormed up the walkway. The magazine journalist Diane blinked in surprise. Are they part of the interview they're about to be? I said, grinning. Keep the camera rolling. The door burst open and my father charged in first. This ends now, Clara. You're making a spectacle out of this family. Lucas. His voice boomed through Grandma's sunny study, echoing off the rows of family photos and dusty robotics trophies. Please, I said, coolly glancing at Diane, the journalist from the tech magazine. Do you explain how my success embarrasses the family? I'm sure the readers will be fascinated. They all froze, suddenly aware of the camera lenses. Diane's press badge was shining with the Tech Vision logo and audio marks. Lucas. When he saw the name of the magazine in her notebook, his face flushed. With a trembling voice, my mother hissed, "You set us up." "You had this planned, no mum," I answered steadily. "I just got out of hiding. You are attempting to coerce me into giving up my patents." "Let's discuss that. My Stanford diploma was torn up by you. Let's also discuss that." I turned to face Diane. Success is defined in an intriguing way by my family. It only matters if it comes from the child they select, I told them. Enough, Clara. Grandma intervened before my father could finish his barking. She had a razor-sharp voice. She yelled, "No, Richard, stop! For years, I've seen you write Claire off as an accomplishment. While Claire worked 2 jobs to pay for her inventions, you poured money into Lucas's schemes. You want to profit from her success now, not taking place." A moment of panic flashed behind Lucas's eyes as his sneer faltered. "I was supposed to be the successful one," he spat, "so you're just jealous. My future was stolen by you." "Your future?" I couldn't contain my laughter. "You mean your cryptocurrency business that spent $500,000? Or your groundbreaking fintech app that was never released? What specifically did I steal from you, Lucas?" Dan was writing frantically, every tense word captured on her recorder. My father changed his approach, attempting to sound more gentle. "We only care about what's best for the family. Sweetie, can't we talk about this in private? Similar to how you attempted to pressure me in private to give up my patents." I retaliated by removing my ripped diploma from my backpack. "Or how you ruined this in private." Close-ups of the torn certificate were captured by the photographer as they clicked away. An ideal image for the piece. Diane leant forward and said, "Miss Bennett, would you say that your family's attitude pushed you towards success?" I stopped and examined them all. The simmering anger of my father, Lucas's desperate glare, my mother's embarrassed flush. Yes, in fact, every time they brushed off my work as being merely small robotics projects, I said it motivated me to show them how wrong they were. Lucas was always supported while I survived on scholarships and part-time work. I learned independence and resiliency from it. They exemplified what I never wished to be. "You're not thankful," Lucas started. Grandma interrupted him, though, voice as fierce as ever. "Yours is the first I've ever seen. You've all said enough, I believe," Grandma said. "Clara needs to finish her interview, unless you want to give the readers an explanation for your attempt to steal her patents." My parents looked at each other in embarrassment. At last, my dad seized Lucas and essentially pulled him out. Luke continues to shout about loyalty to family. Diane turned to me with wide eyes after they left. That was really intense. "Are you all right?" With a slow exhale, I felt lighter than I had in years. Better than mediocre. I needed to cut that final tie. The article was released a month later. The Rising Star of Silicon Valley. Clara Bennett's secret story. It turned into the year's most shared story in the magazine. The accompanying image. Reassembling my ripped Stanford diploma and framing it next to my Tesla contract resonated with people outside of the tech community. My email was overflowing. Young engineers related their personal experiences of being passed over. My parents wrote to let me know that they were reconsidering how they helped their more reserved kids. I received a ton of invitations to give talks about paving your own way. Despite the demands of family, Lucas attempted to start a competing robotics company without my parents' financial support. In a matter of weeks, it died. My parents made multiple attempts at reconciliation under the pretense of sharing success and maintaining family harmony. Each time I said no. I put all of my energy into worthwhile work instead. In honor of my grandmother, I established a scholarship fund to help underrepresented STEM students. Tesla's confidence in my drone navigation system, meanwhile, turned out to be correct. My technology was enhancing the logistics and safety of thousands of autonomous vehicles in just 6 months. I was sitting in my Palo Alto office, looking at the framed magazine cover on my wall a year after the acquisition. Priya texted me, and my phone buzzed. In interviews, Lucas says he was an inspiration. "Do you want receipts sent to you?" I typed back, laughing. "Let him speak." Achievement is self-evident. My motto had become Grandma's words from the article. The goal of success is not to disprove others. It's about establishing your correctness. I felt thankful for every disparaging remark, every challenge, and every effort to keep me small, as I gazed out over the sun-drenched Bay Area skyline. My small robotics projects were now influencing an industry and motivating others to take a stand. Confrontation isn't always the best form of retaliation. It's just about surpassing everyone's expectations, especially yours. I would adore hearing from you. If you have ever felt undervalued or under pressure to limit your dreams, please share your experiences in the comments section. Join me as I continue to grow by subscribing. Never forget the power of your quiet passions. Even if no one believes you, you are still worth a bet if you don't back down.